right, everyone. For 6/4/20, I'm calling to order a public hearing on the proposed zoning change made by Meldrum Properties LLC. The property they are interested in is at Clinton and East St. Clair. The proposed change is from R1 residential to RM multifamily. So, we have a representative from Meldrum. If you'd like to speak at this time and present your case, that would be
Yes.
great. Okay.
Hi, guys. Can everybody hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, great.
Yep.
So, to begin, we appreciate your time this evening. Last we spoke, I believe it was around last October. We had proposed the idea of doing a rezone from R1 to industrial, which was unanimously denied. We're here today with what we feel is a much better use as residential multifamily. Couple things. I'm not sure if you guys have what we've submitted in front of you. The Planning Commission members. Just a few things that I would like to discuss just through the packet. First thing, if we could go to Exhibit A, I would just like to kind of describe a little bit more about the property than maybe what most people have seen or know about it. First, as you could tell by Exhibit A, it is a aesthetically pleasing 8-unit building, 7 2-bedroom units and 1 1-bedroom unit. What we find very interesting and attractive about this proposal is that it offers 4 units on ground level with no stairs. And I think this specific property for this use can offer a product that isn't really available at a market value rental rate in the area. In general, this building can attract and find use for a whole slew of different people, ages, demographics, etc. We have 4 units on the ground level, like I said, 4 units upper. So the 4 upper units do have staircases. They are all, like I said, or 7 of them are 2 bedrooms, like I said. 1 of them is 1 bedroom, which meets density for the proposed zoning. Number 2, it does meet setbacks for the proposed zoning as well. So the frontage setback is 25 on both frontage with 40 on the rear. And third would be parking. And that was, the main thing that we were kind of looking at as well, to make sure that we can accommodate ample parking for this location. And we do meet that as well. I believe the parking spaces are 20, if I remember correctly.
20 spaces, yeah.
20 parking spaces. So those 3 criteria do meet. A little bit about the location, and which is a very important factor as well, is that 2 sides are R1 residential on the north and west side, and 2 additional sides on the east and south side, which extend further north and further west than our property. Those are industrial zoning. And what's quite unique about the site itself is that there is no transition from R1 to the industrial zoning. And we feel that this potential use could be the best transition from the R1 zoning to the industrial. Like we said, I think the design is phenomenal. It was designed by Martini Sammartino Homes, which is one of the leading architects in the area. And in regards to the design, I wanted to point out as well that after careful review of the previous or the master plan, I know that from Clinton Street all the way to Bailey Street on East St. Clair is what is called is a entry improvement. And again, I think we fit it with the aesthetic look of really trying to improve the entrance as you come in and out of, specifically as you enter Romeo from M53. By definition, too, and this is just something I just wanted to touch on because I just really wanted to make sure that we do, we're going to do harm by anybody. We're here to actually bring a product that is needed in the area. As Paul and I were real estate professionals, we've serviced the area for the last few years, and it's a consistent gap in the market is that there is no affordable rentals of this quality. There's just not. It doesn't exist. Last time I looked in the MLS last week, there was 3 rental properties that have sold in the past 12 months in the MLS. Off market's different, but as far as what hits the market, there's very minimal. And just one thing I wanted to touch on, as far as multifamily residential district and what is considered the definition, is the district should be located near major thoroughfares for good accessibility and may serve as a transition between non-residential uses and single-family districts. Various sizes of residential accommodations for ownership or rental would be provided to meet the needs of different age and family groups residing or expected to reside in the community. And this was, by definition, from the master plan. So, with that said, meeting, the parking density and setbacks, and just the unique location of this development, coupled with what we find is a missing market in the area, and a very, quite frankly, it's much needed as far as this type of product. I do think that this is a very feasible and appropriate proposal for this site.
We could potentially be bringing 8 new residences to the area. Mm-hmm. And not to mention the revenue that this would provide to the village and the community. We think that's something that the village should seriously consider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just simply from, a higher SEV standpoint from a tax basis and non-homesteaded taxes versus, if it was 2 principal residents or homestead tax rates, and that's the financial benefit for the village. But regardless, it's just a very unique lot due to it being, cornering to or siding to industrial and R1 on 2 sides each. So I just want to make sure I touched on everything that I had here. Is there anything here?
And I just wanted to add a couple things. This is Benjamin Alloy. I'm counsel for the Meldrums on this development. As they spoke, we're asking for conditional rezoning, and we're proposing this particular product and site plan as part of the conditional rezoning. The Meldrums have done quite a bit of work here to not only show you the actual site plan and worked with the planner to just look and see what the requirements would be in order to get this approved as multifamily and meet those requirements with Urban Land Consultants, who is a well-known engineer, Martini San Martino, who is a well-known architect, and provide a site plan and a product that is first class. As you see, it's more than just an apartment unit, eight apartment unit. It's this farmhouse concept, which is very popular today and very attractive. And I think, and if you look at it, it's something that meets the quality of the historic homes in the area with the feel of it. It provides, even though it's not single family residential, it provides a quality transition between the industrial across the street and in the R1, which is next to it. And also what's nice about this concept is the approach is going to be off Clinton Street. So you don't have 2 more approaches coming off St. Clair, which is a very busy thoroughfare. It's very difficult when you have residential driveways coming off a busy thoroughfare. And so you have people that are coming in off M53 that are going to first see the industrial and the commercial, and then you see a nice transition to this product and then transition into the residential. So the Meldrums did a lot of work here to not only provide a quality site plan, which met all the multiple codes and ordinances, but also a high quality product, which is aesthetically pleasing, that we hope that if the Planning Commission looks favorably on this conditional rezoning, we'll realize that this is a high quality concept. The Meldrums are doing this themselves. They're young real estate developers, business owners, real estate agents. They want to make a difference in this village. They want to provide a product that would be feasible for all ages. And I think that we see that here. So if there's any questions, either the Meldrums or myself would be happy to answer them at this time.
Hey, Ben, I just want to add a couple of things, if we could just take a few more minutes. I just want to make very clear. In regards to the site or the building itself, and just to make it clear for the record, it's not a common entry building. This is all private entrances. So on the east and west side of the building, which is from this angle of the rendering is not absolutely clear, but you can kind of see it from this angle. But there are, on each side of the building, there are two entrances that'll immediately, as you open the door, there'll be a foyer leading to staircase up for the 2 units upstairs. And on the ground level, those doors directly just go straight into the unit. And that's uniform on both the west and east sides. All 8 units have some type of small patio or outdoor space. The upstairs will have 4 decks, as you can see from the rendering. And the ground level units will have some type of patio slab, which is shown on the site plan as well.
Okay.
Exhibit C, which is just a very simple landscape rendering from an aerial standpoint. We wanted to really show what the north and west side as far as a landscape wall will look like. And as of now, we have planned 82 arborvitaes on the north side and the west side of our R1 neighbors, to make sure that there's a soft landscape wall between that. So I just wanted to make that very clear that we do have planned a arborvitae wall on both the north and west side.
Okay. We're going to move on to Mr. Casson at this point. But for the Meldrums, we will add your proposal to our agenda for tonight. You'll be the first item. So at that time, questions can be addressed. So
Okay.
we'll move on to Mr. Casson right now, and then we're going to hear from the public. So Mr. Casson.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, let me start by saying there was a number of questions on why this was allowed to come before the Planning Commission, seeing that they had been denied previously on the site. This request is different. It is a different rezoning. They have the rights as applicants, citizens, to be heard. Once they submit an application, we have an obligation and a right, and a lawful right to hear the petition. That being said, they are in for a different type of request than the last time. Last time it was I-1, as they indicated, and that was denied, industrial. What's different about this one is they're asking for a conditional rezoning. And both Mr. Meldrums and the attorney, Mr. Aloya, had specified that this is a conditional rezoning. And what a conditional rezoning does, it's fairly new in the state of Michigan. It was just authorized in the last planning. And
It just went to.
what it does is it allows the Planning Commission and Village Council to approve a rezoning based on a specific use, a specific site plan. In the past, if you reviewed something for industrial, let's say, and you granted the industrial, they could tell you it's going to be a multi-tenant industrial building and
Oh, you are. Yeah.
junkyard that would need an industrial district.
Getting you
So,
ready to.
because there were so many issues across the state on communities not knowing what would be allowed, they came up with a conditional rezoning option for local community. I'm talking the state legislature. Such a conditional rezoning has to be authorized or has to be offered by the petitioner. It can't be requested by the village. It specifically says in the law they have to offer. And in this case, they're offering, as they had indicated, a 8-unit apartment building. A request for review on this, as you have my analysis in front of you, you have discretion in approving this, much more discretion you have in a typical rezoning. You can have a number of things. You can, the master plan clearly indicates that this particular piece of property showed a single family, but there are also parts in the master plan that talks about transitional uses. You have the option here. Obviously, you can approve or deny based on whatever you feel is best interest of the community. But in a conditional rezoning, you can also request a developer to come up with other options that may make it more agreeable to you, whatever those might be. I'm not suggesting anything, but so basically you have 3 choices. You can approve it as a transitional use. You could deny it based on the master plan, although I said there are some inconsistencies that we're trying to resolve in the next master plan round that's going up now. Or you could ask for some additional concessions. So that's my report. It's up to the Planning Commission how they wish to proceed.
Do we have any queries from the public live, via phone, or otherwise at this time? Chris?
Let me turn everybody on, Jim, and we'll be right there. If anybody from the public wanted to speak now, if you could hit the raise your hand button, and then I can identify anybody who needs to be admitted, that would be helpful. I am not seeing anybody that has asked to have any public comment at this time.
Okay, so I'm going to contribute this to the hearing, which is today we received a petition from the what is the name of this group? I forget. Somewhere in here. Anyway, petition from 72 Village of Romeo residents, all opposed to this development.
We can barely hear you, Jim. You're in and out.
Jim, your mic is muted.
Hello?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we received a petition today from, who is it?
Residents of, from residents of East St. Clair Street,
Okay.
Dickinson Street.
72 no's. 72 people said no. We also have a letter from Ricky Nelson, who is opposed to the development. We have a late letter from Bill and Christine Sendek. They're opposed. So anybody who's spoken about this is opposed to it. There are no people in favor of it so far. So that's it, and we'll continue this in our regular meeting. So I'm going to call this hearing closed, and we'll start our regular meeting. Okay, so at this time, we will start the regular meeting of the Romeo Planning Commission for June 4, 2020. Cindy, do you want to call roll call?
Yes. Stegner?
Just a word. When you say here, for this meeting, if you say here or you have a question to ask, please say your name first, because some people are only listening, and get your hand up there in front of your camera so people know. So, okay, Stegner here.
Fowler?
Yes, here.
Smiles?
Here.
Grandstaff?
Here.
Davis? Foltz?
Here.
Hall,
Here.
Mr. Webb,
Here.
Stevens.
Here.
Okay, Jim.
That's it. Okay. So, item number 2, approval of the current agenda. I'm going to propose a couple of changes to the current agenda. First, we will discuss the Meldrum proposal. And lastly, tonight, we are scheduled to meet on July 2nd. And I want to vote on whether or not we should change that to July 9th. So we'll have that last. Okay. Anybody like to ask the Meldrums any questions before?
Then we'll do, sorry, we'll do the approval of the agenda
Oh,
first.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I make a
Sorry,
motion that
Ben.
we approve the agenda from, what was that meeting, last meeting here?
No, it's for today's meeting.
For the changes, Zach, for the changes that we
Oh,
made.
okay. Make that a motion that we approve the changes and add it to the agenda. Moving the Meldrums up to number 1, right, on new business?
Correct.
Okay.
And the meeting change time, number 4. Okay, I'll second that.
From the
Mr.
7th to the
Webb,
9th?
Mr. Webb seconded that.
Okay, oh my God.
Okay, Fowler,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Foltz,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Davis, Smiles,
Yes.
Stegner,
Yes,
and Grand Staff.
Yes.
Okay.
Bill, all right, okay. So now we move on to approval of the meetings from March 5th, 2020. Anybody have anything to change or suggest or?
Make a motion, we accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You have to do a roll call vote, excuse
Yes,
me.
we do. Roll call on that.
Roll call, Foltz,
Yes.
Grand Staff,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Davis, Webb,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Stegner,
Yes,
Stevens,
Yes.
and Smiles.
Yes.
Okay.
this time we move on to the public forum. Anybody have anything they would contribute to tonight's meeting? Nobody. Okay.
What? Nope.
So let's move on to new business. First item will be the Meldrum's proposal. If you have a question, address it to me, and then I'll ask the question, and we'll go from there.
I have one question, Mr. Chair. As he made his presentation of the product that is needed, but when they purchased this property, they knew it was R1. We sat in the meeting when they purchased it, and they said they were building 2 houses on this property. Why did they change their mind? I just curious of that.
Okay, Mr. you have an answer for that?
That was an assumption that we were building 2 houses there.
But you made the
What
statement. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't recall that statement, but regardless, yes, the zoning is R1, which we were aware of. We feel, after careful review, though, that the uniqueness of the lot, the best use is not R1. And again, it's our thoughts from the line of work that we do that the area needs a certain product to offer its residents. And I do know that there's a gap in the market and housing there.
And that subject piece of property was deemed R1 way before the Van Dyke Expressway was brought through 32 Mile Road. The whole area has changed. right now there's over 15,000 cars a day that go past this lot. It just doesn't seem best use to put a single family home right on that busy of a road.
And by definition, from what I spoke a few moments ago, the proposal in this lot is to a T what is defined as multifamily, as far as a transition piece between residential and non-residential and a high traffic thoroughfare with proximity to road, to main access.
And there are seven plexes along 32 Mile Road into the village from the expressway, duplexes, multifamily property that's zoned R1 right now. They've never changed. It's just inconsistencies throughout
And
the zone, throughout that area.
I also should add that this property is unique to any other property along the thoroughfare because it has an industrial property across the street on the east and directly across the street on the south. And I don't know that there's any other property that faces that same challenge when you're dealing with it. And we feel that the apartment complexes, that transition will be better served and provide better chances of occupancy and consistency. So in looking at that, you buy it, you look at it, you evaluate it, you figure out what your options are. And that is a significant challenge for this piece. But we feel that with the apartment complex and evaluating it with different engineers and consultants, that might be the best option is this apartment complex.
And
go ahead.
And I'm sorry,
Yes.
go ahead.
Well,
No, I just want to touch on one thing because it sounds like it's been a reoccurring uncertainty or question in regards to a multifamily development, and it's across a society in general. The future of real estate is not single family homes, it's multifamily homes. Owning a home is a luxury and not everybody can do it. As real estate agents, I can tell you that right now. To get into Romeo, you're looking for a turnkey property conservatively 2.25, 250. And there's nothing available as it is. Again, this is just a different product that nobody else is really willing to build. I spoke with a developer, I believe his name was last name Farrow recently, who has a site plan approved condo development. Again, those are for sale though. It's not a rental building. It's not a rental opportunity. And we are just trying to fill a gap in the market. I don't want this to be villainized from what we're trying to do. And I don't want it to be stigmatized that there's a negative aspect of renting when in fact it's not at all. So I just wanted to address those two issues. Open up obviously some more questions.
Yeah, well, you mentioned that you're filling the gap in the market, which is fine, but you knew that the property was zoned R1. I know that you've been aware of all the new construction in the area, which is in adjacent to the property that you own. Matter of fact, down the street on Clinton Street, you have several new houses that's gone up. The price of those houses are between $250,000 and the high mid $300,000 of the houses that's being sold. So to say regarding you talked about the not everybody wants a single family home. That's in reverse of what you say because people are looking to live in the village of Romeo. They want to own a house on the village of Romeo. You mentioned that the traffic on that street is heavy. Well, I was born and raised on that street. Mr. Nelson still lives on that street, which is right next door to that. And so are a lot of other people that signed that petition. The one gentleman that signed the petition, he said he moved to Romeo because it was like the town that he grew up in, and he'd hate to see it change. And I guess that's the attitude of a lot of residents here in the village of Romeo, is there is plenty of room for growth, but not in an R1, and that's basically community feelings towards that. And you're saying of the transition, well, I'm not in disagreement of a transition, but to put that right on the corner of an entire block that's R1 is not a transition. And I understand across the street there is a industrial building. That building has been there since the dawn of time. But I think we can work with the Edison company to possibly get that. And I think that if you guys just follow what was on the master plan and build a couple of houses, I think you'd end up getting your money back and still reinvest it in some other properties here.
Mhm.
It was just my
Yeah.
thoughts.
Part of our
hold on,
angle.
Hold on. So first, I would just like to say that I do respect, the residents' thoughts and opinions, how they view the area. I don't want to. I don't want to come off that we're not sensitive to that. We certainly are. What I will say is, the new construction homes in that quadrant of Romeo, two of which are some of the newest on Clinton Street, I believe just 2 doors down from the mobile home park. Those are being built with no issue affecting those values. So I don't think putting this building on that lot is going to affect housing values any more than they already are across the street from industrial. Again, all we're simply doing is trying to offer a different size of park.
Yeah, and instead of just bringing 2 new families to the area, we're potentially going to bring 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, but you said the key word,
Fowler.
new families.
Mr. Fowler.
And we're looking for families here in a residential area.
Mr. Fowler,
Yes, sir. I'm done.
address your stuff to me and we'll deal with it.
Yes. All right then, Jim. My return comment was, he mentioned that they're trying to bring, instead of bringing 2 new families, they want to bring multiple. And I guess that's what we're looking for in a residential community, is the stability of single-family housing. That's all, Mr.
Does anyone else have any questions for the Meldrums?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
I'd like to know what their price point is for rent.
What's your price point?
Yeah. So, what I will say, and I don't know that I really want to go too necessarily deep into this and give you an exact figure, because we are in obviously some uncertain times right now, and the number could go down, it could go up a little bit, who knows. We are looking to give these and offer these at affordable prices, and when I say affordable, I can show you comparable prices for 30, 40, 50-year-old products in the MLS. These will be well south of $2,000 a month, that I can tell you. Where it's going to land between $1,000 and $2,000, that time will tell. But that is our range for right now. It will certainly be in a price range that the everyday worker can afford.
The 2 bedrooms will be over 1,000.
And the
and
one bedroom unit will be closer to 1,000.
So another question, with you being real estate agents, what is the average monthly mortgage payment on, say, for instance, one of these new homes that's being built in this area?
If it's roughly 275 to 300, there's a lot of variables.
Depends how much they're putting down.
You have your down payment factor, you have your tax factor depending on where they get assessed at, and you have your home insurance. So there's multiple factors in there. You're probably looking closer to $2,000 a month, though.
Yeah, 2,000 plus.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Anyone else have any questions?
Could I?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
from what I see is this is a resident area here. And I think that most of the people in this area is born and raised in this town, grew up on these streets. And I think that it should remain resident. Build the houses, what we approved of, and let it remain that. Nobody on that corner, that is a busy corner. It's a lot of traffic going in and out of there. And it would be more feasible to build houses, less traffic. With all of those units, you're gonna have more traffic. But if you put the 2 houses there, would be less traffic. So I am proposing to remain to build the homes there.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead. Bill.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think my concern is that one of the things we have to our advantage in Romeo is the old homes or the small village image that we have. To have on the main, one of the main entrances coming into the village, to have an 8-unit apartment, whether it looks pretty and all of this, is detracting from what I, as a resident of the village, what I want our image to be out to the surrounding communities, is lost on an apartment complex. I think it is zoned resident, single structure. The gentlemen were aware of that when they bought it. I think them making these attempts to change it is take away from what I feel is an important part of Romeo. I just want to throw that out there. I really don't have a question for anyone.
All right, members, anybody?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Chris Smiles here. I have several comments. I've visited the property, and I noticed everybody talks about the industrial to the east, and I looked at that property, and it has 2 parking places on the south side of it and 13 spots on the north side for a total of 15 spots. The substation to the south that everybody says industrial, which it is, but it has been there a long time. There's no designated parking spots per se. There is a gravel stone area that is used for service trucks when service is needed to that place. A lot of times there's nobody there at all. So as far as industrial and being used a lot, it's not an everyday occurrence. And then down the street, just a little bit to the north and east, is the parking lot for the bicycle and walking trail. And I counted the parking places in there, and there's 26 in there, and 2 which are handicap. The rest of the property is wide open for whatever people want to use. And then the applicant is asking to have a parking lot of 20 spaces and having a screened area on the west and north property lines of the residential homes. With all the people and with the number of cars that will be in there or could be in there, whether the parking lot is empty or full or not, I wouldn't want to live next to that and look at a parking lot through some trees or a berm or whatever. And where are the people going to go? Everybody in the area is like a neighborhood where they're out and barbecue and this and that. I don't see any other building outside for 8 units for storage of a bicycle or anything like that. And I just wondered where all that stuff is going to go. I would hate to see something like that come in next to me in my neighborhood where I'm sitting right next to a parking lot that people are in and out of all night long. And when they walk out the street, there's no place to go. They got a little grass area. The reason that I believe, and I know I was around, that there's so much industrial on the east side of Clinton Street there, that's the old railroad track was there. And south of that, the train station was there with the elevator. And lumber used to come in on track to Church's Lumber. And the old coal yard was on right straight across on the east side. So that's how we got to some industrial at that place. And as far as a buffer, I think Clinton Street is a buffer, and I think 32 Mile Road is a buffer. And like the applicant spoke, yes, there is duplexes on St. Clair Street. I think mainly, because I see the signs, most of them are on the south side of the street. And there again, I use the road as a buffer, and I'd like to see it stay R1. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for the Meldrums?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
in the village of Romeo, is you going down every street from Bailey Street all the way to Clinton. Harriet Street, all new homes going up, no apartments. New homes going up Dixon. New homes going on Dorsey. New homes going on Clinton, next to the trailer park. This is, I don't know who would want an apartment building on that corner. There's no other apartments going no other places in Romeo. They're building homes here. No other apartments is being built here. They're building houses. So let's remain with these houses.
Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'd first like to say I think the guys did a pretty good job with, showing the print and everything for this place. It does look good. I just think that it doesn't go with what everything we need in the village of Romeo. I think the need that they think we need isn't what we need. I believe that we do need the two houses to be built there and not have an apartment complex, because we haven't even mentioned the garbage can look. It's going to be tight with all the cars there, and we got to throw in a dumpster. I don't think that's going to be a good look for us. So I would recommend keeping it zoned the way it is.
Are there any changes to the design that anyone can recommend that might make what apparently doesn't seem to be a popular design a little more palatable to people, or anyone?
To me, make it a single house. I see no need in Romeo for an 8-unit apartment. They may want that so they can have some income from it, but
I get it.
I'm interested in what it looks like for the village. And I think that right at the entrance to our village, our small village, would be a distraction, and I am opposed to it.
I gotta get Lily.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
Motion to deny based on inconsistency with the master plan that designated the area stay as single family.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of denying this rezone proposal? Say aye.
Stegner, I have to do a roll call.
Well, okay, we can do a roll call. I don't like that idea for this kind of thing, but let's do a roll call.
Okay.
I'll explain why, but go ahead. Let's do roll call.
Go ahead and explain why, Mr. Chair, please.
I don't want anybody influencing anybody else's vote. That's why.
I understand.
So, but if the majority wants a roll call, let's go ahead and roll.
Well, Mr. Chairman, can I also ask that since this proposal was for conditional rezoning review,
Yeah.
that should be worded in this vote?
Okay. You want to go ahead and remake your proposal, Ms. Hall? Your motion, excuse me.
To make a motion to deny the request based on the inconsistency with the master plan that designates the area as single family.
Second.
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. You didn't hear her, Mr.
No.
Fowler?
No, I did not. I'll go with what she said, whatever she said. It
Lisa,
must have been good. Lisa said it.
Lisa, can you repeat that, please?
Like to make a motion to deny based on inconsistency with the master plan that designates the area as single family.
Second?
Second. Jay Foltz.
Okay, roll call vote.
Stegner,
Deny.
Davis, sorry, Kim, I didn't hear you.
Deny.
Stevens,
Again, a deny says no to the proposal to allow it to go forward.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Smiles,
Deny.
Fowler,
Deny.
Webb,
Deny.
Grandstaff,
Deny.
that's it. That's it, Jim.
Okay, it's a motion to deny is unanimous. So proposal from Meldrum's is denied. Let's move on to what's next. Medical marijuana ordinance review. Everybody have a chance to look at that?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I have a couple of comments.
Okay.
All right, section 6 of both of the proposed ordinances
Okay.
states that we are section 6D and section 6B, okay? Section 6D, which is a typo, I believe, and one for recreational marijuana, and section 6B of the medical marijuana states that we are to, says the location of recreational marijuana establishments are subject to special land use permit approval and the applicable minimum requirements of section 46-393-9 of the Village of Romeo zoning ordinance. In my zoning ordinance book, there is no section 46-393-9, and there is not one online either. So I'm going to make a motion to table this until we see section 46-393-9.
Well, we're just reviewing. We're not, there's no action going to be taken on these other than to make comment. So,
Okay. Well,
I agree with Lisa because there's some things. Yes, Lisa, I totally agree with you there. And
I mean, there's other things too.
yes, I like section 7. I mean, to identify R1 areas. So I think we can digest this a little more, make our comments, and then send it to the council.
Yes.
So
okay.
I'll give you a second to your motion to table it.
Okay, all in favor of tabling, let's do a roll call. Here we go. What happened to Cindy?
Stegner,
Yes. I mean, no. Table, yes. Table.
Webb,
Table.
Foltz,
Table.
Smiles,
Table.
Davis, Stevens,
Table.
Grandstaff.
Table.
Okay. Okay, Jim.
Hey, Cindy, you missed me, but yes, table.
You were,
I was laughing.
no. No, you supported Hall on that.
Oh, all right, thank you.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
let's move on to the blight elimination ordinance. Everybody knows that. I believe Mr. Casson is the one who worked on this. Any comment on this?
No, it's a typical ordinance that's been adopted by many communities around you. It allows to maintain, it basically allows you to maintain the property values in your community by requiring property owners to upkeep their property. I think it's a very good thing that you guys are considering.
I love the idea.
Is this an amendment to existing, or we do not have anything on, I couldn't find anything, but is this a new?
I believe it's a new, I don't recall seeing anything other than your building codes, your international property codes that touch upon it.
Okay.
Ms. Hall, any comments?
Um,
Not to single you out, but to single you out.
well, I just online, or I just looked at the zoning ordinance. I don't see anything in the zoning ordinance. I just searched it real quick. I don't see anything related to blight in the current zoning ordinance at all. The only thing I would suggest, I mean, obviously this is just an example because it doesn't have the Village of Romeo spelled out in here. So I just think there needs to be some edits.
There definitely has to be edits. That's just an example, a template to consider.
Yes.
So we're just reviewing this?
Yes.
Everything's just being reviewed. We are not taking any action tonight on the.
I think what we need is your concurrence to proceed if you're in agreement. And it'll come back to you.
I'll make a motion for Steve to proceed forward. Steve, I'm not quite sure how to word that.
Oh, that's good.
This is my first time back in many, many years.
Perfect.
I'll second that.
Go ahead. Okay, roll call vote.
Jim, was that Tom who made that motion?
Yes.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Zach.
Stagner?
Yes.
Webb?
Yes.
Foltz? Did we lose? We lost Foltz.
Mhm.
Zach, are you still there?
Fowler?
Yes.
Smiles?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Stevens? Hall?
Yes.
Okay.
That's it. Go ahead. Passes unanimously then. All right, so we move on.
Okay.
We move on to
Coming back
changing
to us,
our
right?
July meeting date from the 2nd to the 9th. Anybody have any problems with that?
Motion to accept it, the change?
I'll second the motion.
Sorry, Davis?
Yes.
Stegner?
Yes.
Webb?
Yes.
Yes.
Smiles?
I'm sorry, Jim.
Stevens?
Yes.
Hall?
Yes.
Grandstaff?
Yes.
Okay, Jim.
Okay, anybody?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
you also have under new business, a site plan review form. What are we doing?
I should have said something at the beginning. We're not doing that.
Okay.
That was something that you and I discussed when we met, and it turns out they already adopted the stuff that we talked about. So,
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second the motion.
Can we, like, all in favor on this one?
Now we got
Okay.
Lisa Hall, please don't go anywhere. Don't leave.
Okay.
Webb?
Yes.
To adjourn. Yep. Foltz is not here, Fowler. Smiles?
Yes.
Holt is here.
Oh, okay, you're
I had
back.
a technical difficulty for a second.
Okay, that's not a problem, Jay. Foltz?
Okay.
Davis? Yes. Stevens?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Grandstaff?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, then we're adjourned. Thank you.